Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, he shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the second half of the season. The Knicks will be finishing off their 2025 campaign with... I'm sorry, the Knicks will be... Let's start. Yeah. We're rushing ahead. The Knicks will begin the second half of their 2025 campaign with a win as they took down the... Who they play last night? I'm drawing a blank today. I am just all over the place. They played the Chicago Bulls, Robert. They played the Bulls last night and picked up a win. This was a game, to say the least. It was something. You know, the fact that this was, you know, an overtime game, the first night they come back, and it's the first of a back-to-back where you got to play Cleveland tonight. Not the most ideal thing in the world. And I believe I saw somewhere that the Knicks, every game they play Cleveland the rest of the year will be on the second of a back-to-back. So that's nice. But this was a classic first game after the All-Star break. It was also a classic Knicks-Bulls 2025 doozy. They play the Knicks well. They match up with them well. And, you know, the start of this game was very, very incredibly ugly. I saw somebody on Twitter put it perfectly. A lot of pace, no buckets. And that's pretty much what this game was. You know, the Knicks did find some rhythm throughout the game. But every time they did make a run, they allowed Chicago to pull right back in it. And that was basically it. The entire game was back and forth with the Knicks having the slight edge until the Bulls took the lead late. But, you know, you get Towns with, he erupts in the third quarter with a big-time performance there. Brunson making a big shot in the fourth quarter. Chicago making big shots down the stretch. But Mikal Bridges coming through with a big-time block in the fourth. The Knicks go to overtime, and they win it in overtime behind some more good defense that we're going to get into. But also, you got Cat and a little bit of McBride shot-making to bring them home. And so the final score in this game, despite it being in overtime, was 113-111, and the Knicks win at Madison Square Garden in their first game back from break. So take a deep breath. It's much like that Atlanta game. This was a game that maddened most of us, but they got the job done. And Deuce McBride was outstanding. This was definitely a Deuce game. He got the start with Josh Hart out now. And he continues to make a case every time he gets the opportunity. You know, I still think back to that second half in Boston when Tibbs made the adjustment. But Deuce McBride last night, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 stocks. 9 for 19 from the field. He was 5 for 12 from 3. 42 minutes played. He really showed out. That's 22 game balls now for Deuce McBride. We're going to give him 22. That's his first one now as a starter. But yeah, he was huge. Knocking down big shots all night. The confidence that this kid has in his jumper, and that's been the storyline of his career. From day one up to now, it's been a monumental difference. I followed him just like I followed Quickly, and you see the progression in live action. It's pretty impressive. This was a kid who, when he was first a rookie, the only thing he did well was play defense at the point of attack. But the shot was not falling, and the shot was the reason he was in the NBA. But you're finally starting to see it the last couple of years, and this year, although the numbers have decreased, he's still as confident as he's ever been. That's the big thing I take from Deuce McBride's growth and development the last couple of seasons, is the confidence that he's got in his jumper. He's not afraid to take shots over closing out defenders. He's not afraid to take those 3-pointers that are above the break, which is very important, right? The accuracy that he's got above the break is important because you don't get shooting on the wings and at the top of the arc from OG and McHale, and certainly not Hart. So that's going to be important to have that gravity and gain that respect from the defense to where you do have to guard McBride when he's spacing out one pass over from the top of the key. Knocked down a big step back out of isolation in overtime. That was a big shot. But it's the confidence, man. It's that quick trigger. He's not afraid to shoot it. He gets good lift on the jumper. Quick, high release point, high arc. It's a tough shot to block because of that. So it was nice to see the 5 for 12. And then the defense, of course. Just constant pressure at the point of attack. Did a really nice job getting over the top. I thought he was playing the pass lanes exceptionally well, especially on Giddey. Couple of off-ball lapses, but that's more help and cause and effect from other Knicks. But he had a couple of nice blocks off the backboard in the second quarter. A couple of Chicago Bulls tried to drive. Deuce came over and helped. Really, really good performance from him last night. And in my opinion, again, I think this kid should start. I do. Because I believe that offensive spacing trumps all. So I think when the Knicks get healthy, whenever that may be, I want to see those lineups where it's Deuce and OG together. Right? Deuce with that first unit it's got much more upside than Josh Hart with the first unit, and the metrics support that it's been more productive so far. That the usual starting lineup, Brunson, Hart, McHale, OG, Cat, is a plus 5.4 in net rating across 806 minutes. So, it's good. It's not great. The offense is elite and the defense is mediocre. The starting lineup with Deuce over Hart in it is a plus 9.2. So it's almost 4 points per 100 possessions better, but it's only across 34 minutes. So it's great, but it's a short sample. The offense is even more elite when they go to that, and that's the big key. The defense is a slight drop-off, but I'm all about getting this offense, perfecting it, doubling down on offense. And the eye test supports it, and I just think fundamentally it makes sense. I think gravity and spacing, the gravity and spacing that Deuce provides for other Knicks gives you more upside than the defense and the rebounding and the transition play that Josh Hart provides in the starting lineup. Now, I'm not saying Tibbs is going to make this change because he probably won't. This is probably your starting lineup. It's probably going to continue to be, when everybody's healthy, Brunson, OG, Mikal, Cat, Josh Hart. But I do think that at the very least, Tom Thibodeau should make his subs earlier for Deuce to play with the first unit more. And then, like we've said, we've said this in the last couple of episodes now, have certain lineups to go to more, or have certain even certain starting lineups versus specific teams like Boston. Have your Boston lineup, have your this lineup, have your that lineup. I think that's going to be an important part of Tibbs being a little more creative. And you saw last night, I mean, the Knicks offense was just brutal. There were good examples of why you need to optimize space. Now, Deuce did start last night, but so did Precious because OG is out. So Precious, in this case, would be the Josh Hart in the normal starting lineup. And when Precious is out there, he completely decimates the Knicks' spacing. When the defense cheats off Precious on the corner, it makes it very difficult for the Knicks to get the entry pass off. When Towns is posting a small or one of the wings that are on him, the weak side help, Chicago or whoever is going to rotate weak side help ball side to double the post. It's just we see too many times where Precious is on the corner versus playing center in the dunker spot, and that kills the Knicks offense. Right? When he's on the corner, he's not a threat, so the defense is going to help as far off as they want. But at least when he's down the dunker spot, if you commit to the help, he can punish you with a dunk. But even last night, against the mediocre Chicago team, there were moments where this hurt the Knicks. Early in the first quarter, 9 minutes and change maybe, this was a perfect example. Towns attempts to drive. Josh Giddey pokes the ball loose, and then it's Buzelis who comes up with the loose ball because he was able to help all the way off Precious from that weak side corner. And, just a lot of times in the first half, you had some reckless Towns drives, and it's because Chicago was sending help. But if you've got someone like OG Anunoby on the weak side corner and Deuce is in that lineup, that doesn't happen on a Towns drive because of the shooting gravity you've got on the floor. They have to respect their shot. They're not going to commit to that help. So even if it's just one non-spacer in the starting lineup, it can be detrimental. And, Chicago doesn't even have the proper personnel to put wings on Towns and put the big on a non-spacer. Right? Vuk was on Cat most of this game. But again, when they play actual elite competition, Boston does this. OKC does this. Cleveland does this, who we've got up next. It's just about placement on the floor, going to certain lineups. Where are you positioning this guy when he's in this lineup, right? You when Precious is out there with Cat, you want to screen with Precious. You don't really want to screen with Cat on those Brunson pick and rolls. As good as that Brunson Towns pick and roll is, Cat or Precious cannot be on the corner. You're allowing help. But if you have Precious screen, you're making life easier for yourselves. So that's, going to continue to be a storyline. But good for Deuce McBride for sure. And that's why I think he needs to start when the Knicks are healthy. So he gets the game ball. Ariel Hukporti, I'm going to give him the game ball from the bench unit. I thought the defense last night was sharp. And I thought Ariel Hukporti was a big part of that when he was in. The numbers aren't special. 5 rebounds, a block, 3 fouls, 60 minutes. It's his 4th game ball. But I love what I see from him, man. I'll continue to say how much I love what he can do in multiple coverages. He's got great feet and mobility, so it allows him to hedge and recover effectively. He's been consistent all year where whenever he gets minutes, the Knicks like to hedge with him. And his hedges have been pretty impressive. A couple of nice hedges on Kobe White. Recovers quick enough. I thought his help side defense is very strong. Made a nice block on Kobe White at the basket when Bridges got caught behind. So overall, just continues to be a very versatile and an active defender, right? Which is why he fouls a lot. You like the activity, though. I don't mind it. This is usual young raw player type of shit, right? I like my backup big using up those fouls. He's gonna learn. He's kind of like where Mitch was as a rookie. That's completely normal. And then, the offensive stuff that he can do, I kind of Isaiah Hartenstein-like. He went to the floater in the middle of the paint last night. Nice touch there. And you're not seeing it as much lately, but I still remember a few times earlier in the year, he did some things out of the short roll that reminded me of Isaiah Hartenstein. So he can do a lot of things. I can't say once, again, the Knicks are healthy, he's not going to be part of this rotation, but we'll see what his future holds because I really like his defense and the Knicks defense. Overall last night, I think Tom Thibodeau deserves a lot of credit for that. Big adjustment in the second half. He took Towns off of Vooch and put Towns onto Chicago wings. He put him on Phillips and some of their other wings. And he had Precious on Vucevic. And I thought Precious held his own. So that was a good adjustment he made, and the results were good. But the fact that, for me, it's just the fact that Tibbs is already looking for a solution of how to figure this defense out with Cat in the first game of the second half. I think that's an encouraging sign. He's already trying to plug in different schemes, and he's got Cat defending at the 4 with Precious defending at the 5, and you look at that, and that's maybe a preview of when Mitch returns. You have Mitch defending at 5, and when you get those lineups where they're together on occasion, and hopefully it's only on occasion, but that can help mitigate some of their defensive problems. Although the Mitch stuff is interesting, but I can't say Mitch is going to help too much against Boston because he still struggles tremendously in drop. When they run their 5 out with Porzingis at the 5, that's still going to be an issue. But I did like the defense last night. I thought the switching was good. They went to their switch everything lineups when Precious was out there. Just utilizing Precious and the versatility of him in the wings. That last possession in regulation, they switched it with Precious and Mikal. And that was also a possession where Tibbs took Brunson and Towns off the floor. So give him credit for that. He went to the all-defensive lineup, and then he went to a switch everything, right? And Billy Donovan did a nice job expecting that. And so off the sideline out of bounds, he dumped it down to Vooch on the low post, who was on Mikal. But Mikal Bridges did an excellent job using his wingspan, getting his hands on it for a block. And then the last possession in OT, they went to a switch everything again with Precious in there. And the primary action brought Mikal, Shamet, and Precious into it. Mikal and Shamet switched the off-screen. Precious and Shamet switched the handoff up top. So, what's his name? Precious was doing a really nice job denying White a shot. And he forces Kobe White to pass to Vooch on the post. So Vooch gets the ball on the post. Mikal sends help to the post. Kind of forces him into a quick contested shot over Shamet. Shamet does a nice job contesting. Vooch misses. the Knicks win. So that was the defense that I really liked. Now there were still some mishaps, and I don't know how, in the final third of the season now, we're still miscommunicating on what should be auto switches. And surely there were a few throughout the game that we could touch, but like I want to focus on a few of those late game breakdowns where, again, the Knicks weren't switching actions despite having 2 wing defenders in it. And there was that Giddey 3 with 1:30 left in the fourth quarter, which just confused the shit out of me as to what they were doing. It started where Precious switches the White Vooch pick and roll, which that's what you're supposed to do because Mikal was the other defender in the action, but Mikal tries to fight over. And so now you've got Precious on White, which was good, but the roll is open because of Mikal. And that forces Deuce to help off Lonzo from the weak side corner to tag the roll. And so then the Knicks were put into rotation, right? Brunson, because Deuce has to tag, rotates off the elbow 3 to Lonzo on the corner. But Lonzo swings to Brunson's man on the elbow 3, which was Josh Giddey. And now Josh Giddey knocks down the open 3 to give Chicago the lead. If that's an auto switch from the very top of the set, none of that ends up happening. I think that's on Mikal. He needs to make that switch. But the Knicks have to do a better job communicating there. And then, with 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Chicago runs stack, Spain pick and roll. Lonzo ends up missing the shot, so the Knicks lucked out, but like it was the same issue where Precious switches the pick and roll while Mikal gets caught on the Vooch screen and doesn't switch it. So now Precious is switched to Kobe White, which is good, but again, the roll was wide open because Mikal didn't switch it. So now Shamit's forced to tag the roll off of the back screener, which leaves Lonzo open to pop off to the perimeter off the back screen. Lonzo gets the open 3-pointer off the pop. Again, he misses the look, but if that's an auto switch, Lonzo doesn't get that open 3. So I think that's on Mikal to switch that because, again, you've got 2 elite wing defenders in the action. If Precious is going to switch that and it's Mikal or it's an OG Anunoby on the other end, that's got to be a commit. You've got to switch that. So we're still seeing this miscommunication despite having less than a third of the year to go. So they 1,000% need to clean this stuff up. Other than that, I thought it was a good game defensively. It was an insane Karl Anthony Towns game. 32 points and 18 rebounds. He took 30 shots, but he started the game out 2 for 15, whatever it was. He looked brutal. He was missing a bunch of shots in a row. The drives were wild and erratic. And it's a pattern because he doesn't pass out of his drives. Towns is not going to pass out of his drives. So when the defense closes to his right hand and they force him to dribble left, he's going to go to that off-balanced, fadeaway floater over traffic. And, often he's going to miss that shot and he's going to think he gets fouled, but he never does. And so, it's tough to watch. And some of that's unfortunate because it's Precious and spacing stuff, right? But it's tough. The 3-point looks, he didn't knock down threes last night, but I loved the volume. I liked seeing him get off 10 3-point looks, and I think he needs to keep shooting those because the volume has decreased since his return. So getting those 3-point looks up is important. He will start knocking them down. Figured it out in the second half. That third quarter, was he 9 for 10? Getting to the basket a ton. He had a good overtime period. Not much else to add. I mean, Brunson had an off game. Mikal Bridges still up and down offensively, which is disappointing. He finishes this game only 13 points. Did have 10 rebounds, 5 assists, but there was some good when he was on the floor without the starters. When Brunson and Towns sat and Mikal was the primary, did some good things. I like the escape dribble. I think that's very effective for him. Those wide pin sets were effective for him. There was a possession where he's got Huck set in the wing screen. Cam's up top. Mikal comes off the screen. Gets him downhill for the pull-up mid-range. People wonder why the Knicks don't put Mikal into action as much. And I think that's a fair question, especially on those wide pins, get him in those sets. But at the same time, he's not a great passer out of pick and roll. He doesn't attack the basket all the way out of pick and roll. So a lot of those Mikal actions are going to result in long twos and post-ups, which that'll be important when they play Cleveland and, again, Boston, to see if the Knicks can still take advantage of those mismatches versus drop coverage, to get Mikal on those mismatches, right? Those post-ups. But I think that's it. I thought it was mainly Deuce McBride, some good Achua defense, some good moments from Cat at times, and the Knicks figured out a way to win this game. So up next, it's going to be tough because, again, you got the second of a back-to-back tonight against Cleveland. Josh Hart is ruled out. That's becoming a concern of mine. Hopefully it's Tibbs kind of load managing, at this point. OG, I'm not expecting to play. This guy takes forever to heal, so never listen to what they say. Very much like the Yankees with their injury reports. So you got Cleveland tonight on the second of a back-to-back, and then the Knicks are off Saturday, and then they play Sunday afternoon against the Celtics in Boston. So, second half things to look forward to, just the things we've talked about against those switching defenses that cross-match. And then, the other end of the floor, it's what coverage do you want to go with Towns as a 5 against 5-out offenses. It's the usual things. Health being a big part of that. OG, Mitch. Now we got to worry about Josh Hart. But, yeah, all this is important because Boston is likely going to be the Knicks' second-round matchup this year in the East. So, we'll see. Folks, that's it. We're going to head to a break, get back in a few minutes, and wrap it up with our trivia. Let's get to that. BD4 is available on social media for those who want to follow. You can find BD4 on Instagram at BD4Pod. You can find us on X at BD4Pod. And you can find us on Facebook by simply searching BD4. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this podcast is also available in video format on YouTube. So be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, BD4, subscribe, like the videos, comment and tell me how much I suck or maybe how much you like the video. We'd very much appreciate it. Don't have time to sit down and watch a video? You can listen to BD4 on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also watch the video format on Spotify too. If you feel like supporting the podcast, you can Venmo at Robert-Carbone-JR-28. We really appreciate your support. Do you enjoy Yankees baseball but are tired of hearing me yap? I have a suggestion for you. Go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. Greg Gill is a Yankees podcaster on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and he's now selling merch. Go to yankeecrazy.myshopify.com. Stay connected with us. Visit BD4blog.com to explore our blog, tune into our latest podcasts, and follow us on social media. Thank you for being a part of this community. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap this thing up with our trivia right now. And our trivia for this episode. When was the last time the Bulls beat the Knicks in 3 straight games? All right, when was the last time the Bulls won 3 straight against the Knicks? Folks, that's it. I apologize for that background noise. Got some work going on around me. So we're going to wrap this one up here. Appreciate you all. See you very soon. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.